Eugene, Plankton's plans never really ended with just becoming rich. He wants to use the position he could have as a successful businessman to rule Bikini Bottom and then subsequently the world, I guess. He has proven this fact over and over that although making money is kinda cool, he mainly cares about it because it shows he succeeded at beating crabs. What he only cares about is just pure world domination.
Plankton, 1% evil, 99% hot gas.
Like some extreme version of authoritarianism. Secondly, North Korea, the country who practices juche, also has currency, with again the same mindset of using money to achieve absolute domination and dictatorship directly and not through proxies like companies or lobbying. But I hear your question. I hear you say this doesn't necessarily make planting a juche. An authoritarian maybe, but not juche. There are many authoritarians that one can be in this side of the political compass. He could be a Nazi, or a monarchist, a Stalinist. And to that I say, shut up! This is my video! How can you even ask me questions? This is a YouTube video! And secondly, a very interesting aspect of Juche is it being described as the dictatorship of people's democracy. Juche was mainly theorized, implemented, and expanded through the Workers' Party of Korea, or WPK. In an ironic way, WPK was technically elected by the people and it was chosen back in 1945. It did later on become a military state, but to this day they held up this facade of North Korea being actually very democratic because I guess it was originally. Honestly, I don't know. The history of political affiliations of North Korea are so fucking effy because everyone involved in this, the West, the East, North Korea, my goddamn mom, are all propagating. Is North Korea real? But either way, I guess by technicality, it being elected to become a dictatorship makes this whole thing democratic. That's why they call it the Democratic Republic of Korea. They actually believe it's South Korea that's under dictatorship and they have a duty to bring democracy back to the people of Korea, whether South or North. I know, it's hilarious. This is relevant to Plankton because although he has a great desire for total domination, he still wants people to choose him first. In fact, in any story which he kinda took over the town, he manipulated or tricked people into choosing his side and then straight up owned them. Unlike ultra right-wing authoritarianism, which aims to just say fuck voting for people, or Stalinism, which gained power through bureaucracy, Sheldon's actions show a deep desire to be technically elected, which makes his political belief and ideology a dictatorship elected through democracy. Or juche. Also, to be honest, this scene in the SpongeBob movie is very North Korean-like, so I don't know what to tell you anymore.
Seize him, slaves!
But even through all of this, an interesting fact to consider is Plankton is an absolute loser. He achieved nothing and never had any of his plans work. More like this goober. They can both pretend they're some sort of almighty juche authoritarian dictators, but at the end of the day, we both know they're just some pathetic little 4chan users. So what kind of self-respecting woman would be in a relationship with a dictator, or worse, a 4chan user, you might ask? Well, the kind that has to be built. Karen is the next character we will be talking about, and honestly, I like Karen. It would have been so easy to make her act like a boring cold machine, but I love how the writers really have given her a dynamic character. However, because Karen is used as a character to just react to Sheldon and give audiences an insight to his mind, it's very difficult to gauge exactly what political party she would believe in. Or that's what I would say if I was lazy. Karen, this computer that Plankton made, is a centrist. Throughout the show, a big characteristic of Karen is her not giving a flying fuck. She repeatedly makes fun of him, is always uninterested, and has proven by some episodes if she really wanted to, she could have just simply gotten the formula. She just chooses not to. But this isn't because Karen is a computer and just doesn't care about ambitions, goals, or greeds or something like that. No, quite the contrary. Karen really cares about her life. Be it the state of Trump bucket, her family, and even her love life with Plankton. She is relatively self-centered and her decisions are derived from her own day-to-day quality of life. Or in other words...
Hey! Would you like to do it with your family? No, your computer shit, there's a whole nice thing down here. I worked a little hard to get this together. I mainly conned other people into working for me, but I think that counts as work. I really do. You have as many minutes as you want. I love wasting time. ESG backing. Oh, I need to go to the bathroom. got 7 Mac 11s, 8 Glock 38s, 9 9s. Fuck you all time. I got 10 cocks, hucking rocks. Second shot, it's fucking your life. Yes, my balls are finally went well. Correct degree. Yes. Yes, my balls are intensifying. Bad. I love an area like this in the game. It's actually like Dark Souls, you know. It's not no bullshit, you know. Explore the fuck that. Should be get from point A to point B. Be good enough not to die. What does that mean? Dude, this is the perfect Elden Ring map. It's a map of all the bosses and you just number it. You don't actually have to be 100% numbers. Oh shit. What killed me? Go crazy. Bag. Daggers plenty. Swag on past. Hey, front. Offerhead. God damn it. Name's hilarious.
There's a face I've not seen before. I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said, and true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Morn won't hold much longer. Take this by way of apology. Now then, away with you. You've no reason to risk your neck dawdling here, eh? Now then, away with you.
Oh, you shitting me, dude. I hate this game. god. Because the big long ladder is Metal Gear, and when you get to the top, it's fucking Snake. Oh my fucking god. Metal Gear, dude. Hell yes. Snake? said no. Behold, bird. Behold, bird. But good sort. See, in this game, you can't really make a lot of messages, so you get, you know, choppy ones. You'd say, like, behold, tree, or behold, bird. You know? So let's find a different message, see what it says. Sometimes it's tough to find a message. Boss. I don't know, the bosses. Do you know where the bosses are, Mama? The car bosses. Car bosses. No, it's like a car boss. It's like a car Nera. Ha! Oh, what'd you say to me, punk? Carbonara. Number one ingredient's bacon. Pull that out right now. Okay. You want it nice and crispy in the pasta itself. So you probably want it extra super duper done. Like, we should probably put bacon in the oven now then, if that's the case, because naturally, if we make a good, nice carbonara sauce, nice cheese and oil, the bacon, it's gonna be, well, sure, but some of it needs to be within the pasta to give it that, you know, bacon tinge. Or else it won't be bacon. But of course we'll have some on the side for the topping. Nice and crispy. Some of it I do want pasta, some of it I want to make a lot of pasta. Probably could start making bacon. Probably make all of it. You want to do it on a pan? You don't want it on an oven? That, okay, look. It says liar ahead in this message. Liar. Layer. You're a layer. Nice carbonara. This message says, death ahead. It's right at the end of the clip. Nice. Looks like a mini herb tree. What is this? What's your deal? Bacon. Dadgummit. Hi, Mama. Hello. What? Rune bear and a minor tree out. Mama. What's up? What's up? What's good? everything first before we putz around with the recipe. We really should get the bacon in there. Well, I'm not saying don't work on it. I'm saying hurry up, man. I'm starving. Dying and starving. What? You said you'll have it ready in a snap? Better. You said make it snappy? Quiet! What'd you just say to me? That's worse than saying cunt nigga, mama. Saying quiet? No, you don't tell me to be quiet. No, be quiet? You tell a dog to be quiet. You don't tell me to be quiet. I'll whoop your ass. Your ass whoop. Mom, I love you very much. That's why. Dog. Man, I can't believe. That's what I can't believe. May I help you put the bacon in? Okay. Glad you can do it yourself. Hey, a bear. Hello. That's my line. Say howdy. Just kidding. Italian carbonara or Polish carbonara? Polish carbonara.
Hey, folks.
One secchi. What'd you say to me? What? What?
About a year ago, a group of real-deal Italian chefs savagely critiqued some of the biggest carbonara videos on the internet, and as you may remember, my entry was not very well received. Since then, I've dreamt of nothing but redemption, so today we're going to take a crack at two different versions of carbonara, a real-deal old-school Italian version, and a more modern, less traditional version that's sure to piss them off. Let's get down to basics. Alright, so before we can make carbonara, we've got to make carbonara, which by definition is made with guanciale, a type of cured pork jowl. It is very delicious, but a little hard to find, so if you can't find it, you can sub with pancetta if you're in a pinch. I've got maybe a half pound here that I'm going to cut into relatively sizable chunks, and then set aside to make one of the essential elements of any carbonara dish, the egg slurry. Into a medium bowl or measuring cup goes 3 large eggs and 1 egg yolk for a little added richness. And then it's time to finely grate and measure out 4 ounces of cheese. Truly traditional carbonara uses 100% Pecorino Romano cheese, but is commonly balanced out with Parmigiano Reggiano. If you want it a little less sharp and a little more nutty, I'm going for a 50-50 ratio, into which I'm going to dump our beaten eggs. We're then going to beat this whole affair together with a fork until homogeneous. The only other thing you're going to want to add is a whole lot of freshly ground black pepper. We're not adding any salt yet because guanciale can vary in saltiness and we don't want to oversalt our dish. Beat that together until well incorporated, and then it's time to head over to the stovetop where we are introducing the guanciale to a cold pan. We're then going to turn the heat to medium. This is going to cook the guanciale more slowly and allow more of its fat to render out, which in traditional carbonara is a good thing. Once it is fully cooked but not too crispy, we're going to kill the heat and put our pasta in the hot tub. The water is salato come il mare, or as salty as the sea, and we gotta keep it moving to prevent it from sticking together. And then a cool trick to determine pasta's doneness is to take out a strand and eat it, see if it's done. Don't throw it against the wall, you friggin' weirdo. As you can see, our pork jello has almost entirely stopped bubbling. That's exactly where we want it to be. And as soon as the pasta is done, we're dumping it directly into the saute pan with the guanciale. Once all the pasta has been added, we're going to toss it around in the pan, ensuring that it is evenly covered in all that guanciale fat. And you want to work quickly here because the only thing that's going to cook our egg slurry and make it smooth and creamy is the residual heat from the pasta. So waste no time getting the egg and cheese mixture in there and then agitate rigorously. This is going to help emulsify the sauce and keep it creamy and prevent it from curdling. If you find that it's not as smooth as you'd like, you can add a little bit of pasta water like
I don't know why this opened back up. We gotta Alt F for it, and then we gotta go back to
a quarter cup, but ideally it should look just like this. Now we're going to taste for seasoning. Mine needs a little bit of salt. Then you can optionally toss the pasta. This is going to help aerate it a little bit, get that sauce super creamy, and then finally it's time to plate up. I like to use a carving fork to twirl the pasta into a giant cylinder like this one for presentation on a long, narrow plate. We are then, of course, going to want to top this hedonistic helix with the remaining guanciale from the bottom of the pan, along with any remnants of that creamy sauce. And there you have it, folks. I'm going to say it one last time, carbonara, in its purest, most authentic and traditional form. Unless, of course, I got something wrong, in which case I'm in trouble. But at this point, I'm going to ask all Italians to leave the room because it's time to make carbonara. This starts...
I don't have the correct cheese. I mean, the bacon.
You didn't go to the cheese store? We have some cheese.
We got cheese,
Oh
but
my god, we don't have any of the right. We went to the cheese store.
oh, you know we were gonna make carbonara
You should have.
when we were at the cheese shop.
You should have
in
known
Frankie
everything.
Moo.
You should have known everything.
We got eggs. I've only got the cheese that really. We bought at Frankie Moo's. One is habanero. Habanero. Break that up.
It's not habanero. So what?
I guess we're just gonna have to wing it.
Wow.
Let me see if I have any of these shredded cheese.
You-
back.
You go ahead and do that.
Does he see he used Pecorino Romano or Pecorino Romano?
Man, packaged garbage. Damn it. I know.
It's very much the same way. With the point, I'm going to ask all Italians to leave the room because it's time to make carbonara. This starts very much the same way, with Parmesan and Romano cheese grated into a bowl, along with 3 eggs and 1 egg yolk, beaten together with a few healthy twists of freshly ground black pepper. Now, when most Americans make carbonara, they reach for the bacon. If you can't find guanciale or pancetta and you gotta use bacon, just go for the thick cut stuff, and likewise, we're going to slice about half a pound of it into big old chunks. Then, likewise, we're going to start these guys off in a cold pan because we want to render out as much fat as possible, but not for the same reason. You'll also notice that I'm using a non-stick pan. That's because in stainless, bacon can leave a lot of fond on the bottom of the pot, which for once we don't want, as it might make our final pasta look kind of dirty. Once the bacon is fully cooked and the fat rendered out, we are going to strain it, because this version of carbonara is going to have a much lighter sauce. We're just going to strain off all but about 2 tablespoons worth of bacon fat, which we're going to leave in the pan, and then we're going to return it over medium-low heat to add the most egregious ingredient of all, garlic. This is considered sacrilege in the world of carbonara, but I think it tastes really, really good, and so will you. We're just sauteing for 1 minute until fragrant before killing the heat. Next up, I see far too many people just dump pasta out of the box in the water, which inevitably leads to disaster. Give this a shot, where you dump the pasta into the palm of your hand and then pull it out, using your hand like a real gentleman. And as you can see, this time I'm going with bucatini. Next up, just like last time, we're adding the pasta directly to the pan, but this time we're going to add about 1/3 cup of starchy pasta water, which is going to help make a cohesive sauce. Then we are adding the egg and cheese mixture to the party, and if you find yourself in a pickle like this where your pan is too small to toss the pasta, no biggie, just dump it back into the emptied pasta pot. Just make sure that you keep it moving because there's a lot of residual heat in here, and we don't want to end up with pasta and scrambled eggs. So just wildly agitate that around, and then it's time to taste for seasoning. Add salt and pepper as necessary, and assess your sauce's thickness. If it's not quite thick enough, you can rescue it with a little bit of finely grated Parmesan. Just add maybe another 1/4 ounce or so and mix rigorously. And now it's time to plate up, and one thing you'll notice about this carbonara is that the sauce is much lighter because it has a lot less fat. It also stays creamier longer and won't congeal as quickly as carbonara. And the bucatini, while a little bit difficult to get on one's fork, is dense and chewy and lovely. Whichever version of carbonara you decide to make for yourself, I hope this has shown you how easy it can be so long as you follow a few simple tricks. Now go out there, get some pasta, and start rolling your R's.
about some mozzarella bazzatello?
And just the Parmesan is just grated already in my container. That's all it is.
Well,
Cheese sticks, cottage cheese, and cookies from Hawaii.
guess we need Parmesan.
Isn't Asiago a hard cheese? Don't you need a hard cheese? You want to look up what Asiago is?
Sure.
Okay. Semi-hard.
It's funny because it's like how a nigger would ask. It's like, what Asiago is? That's pretty funny. Mama, it's a joke. Why? Come on. Do you actually want to look at like facts about Asiago? What do you want?
Well, we could maybe use that.
You want to try?
We could try. Is Asiago same as Parmesan? Let's just see.
No, nigga.
It's closest to Parmesan. It's a bit sweeter. Okay.
So. you, sweet mom.
Okay, I'll put some more.
What do you want me to do? I love you so dang much, Mom. Oh. And we're doing it with filtered water.
Well, I gotta move it over because I have I love you, honey. Excuse me.
Sometimes I watch some videos online that really do spook me.
Spook you?
What if a bunch of aliens came down and they really wanted some butts? What if What do you think was the scariest Twilight Zone? The one where the bugs go in his ear? Some of them have neat concepts. Like one of the concepts that I thought was pretty scary, I suppose, was Last Man on Mars. He can't fathom going back to regular humanity. He just wants to stay with his little kingdom. And he dies with, only himself all alone. I think that's a little scary. I do. Sometimes you got to think about it a lot to get scared. Because the concepts are the scary part. It's not really like, ooh, there's a big monster. Yeah, what about the plane one? That was a spooky one. What about the nose snatcher? Yeah, I got your nose. Come on, Mom. You really think you'd kill yourself with the bacon just because snatching your nose? See, I have more confidence in you than that. You didn't even burn yourself. See, but me, I might burn myself.
I watched, I don't know, not today, but
How'd you watch?
this dude did, some videos on the Twilight Zone.
Oh,
He
you were
had
watching?
certain episodes. No, he was just reviewing certain episodes that they were filmed at the exact same location. Totally different story, but like a swimming pool was used in a couple of different Twilight Zone episodes.
Can you tell?
Exact same swimming pool, yeah, you can when he puts the pictures up, a little of the decor is changed, but the pool itself it's exactly the same. So
That's cool. I'd love to watch both episodes just for shits and giggles. It's like, oh, let's watch the 2 episodes that have the same pool. That'd be fun. Just like, there's a reason
Then
why I
there was
want to
another
watch Evander Holyfield versus Tyson. What's the other Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone,
Oh, I'm sorry. I threw you thinking of. That's not enough water yet.
no, it's not.
Hey, where'd my beard go? You take my beers away. Ah!
It's empty upstairs.
Oh, the purple one?
Maybe it's on the carpet by your chair.
You're right. That was quite the toot, Mama, I must say. I'm jealous.
And there you have it, folks. I'm going to say it one last time. Carbonara. In its purest, most authentic, and traditional form. Unless, of course, I got something wrong, in which case I'm in trouble. But at this point, I'm going to ask all Italians to leave the room because it's time to make carbonara. This starts very much the same way with Parmesan and Romano cheese grated into a bowl along with 3 eggs and 1 egg yolk beaten together with a few healthy twists of freshly ground black pepper. Now, when most Americans make carbonara, they reach for the bacon. If you can't find guanciale or pancetta and you gotta use bacon, just go for the thick cut stuff. And likewise, we're going to slice about half a pound of it into big old chunks. Then, likewise, we're going to start these guys off in a cold pan because we want to render out as much fat as possible, but not for the same reason. You also notice that I'm using a non-stick pan. That's because in stainless, bacon can leave a lot of fond in the bottom of the pot, which for once we don't want, as it might make our final pasta look kind of dirty. Once the bacon is fully cooked and the fat rendered out, we're going to strain it, because this version of carbonara is going to have a much lighter sauce. We're just going to strain off all but about 2 tablespoons worth of bacon fat, which we're going to leave in the pan, and then we're going to return it over medium low heat to add the most egregious ingredient of all, garlic. This is considered sacrilege in the world of carbonara, but I think it tastes really, really good, and so we'll get it. We're just sauteing for 1 minute until fragrant before killing the heat. Next up, I see far too many people just dump pasta out of the box in the water, which inevitably leads to disaster. Give this a shot, where you dump the pasta in the palm of your hand and then pull it out using your hand like a real gentleman. And as you can see, this time I'm going with bucatini. Next up, just like last time, we're adding the pasta directly to the pan, but this time we're going to add about 1/3 of a cup of starchy pasta water, which is going to help make the cohesive sauce. Then we're adding the egg and cheese mixture to the party, and if you find yourself in a pickle like this where your pan is too small to toss the pasta, no biggie, just dump it back into the empty pasta pot. Just make sure that you keep it moving because there's a lot of residual heat in here, and we don't want to end up with pasta and scrambled eggs. So just wildly agitate that around, and then it's time to taste for seasoning. Add salt and pepper as necessary, and assess your sauce's thickness. If it's not quite thick enough, you can rescue it with a little bit of finely grated Parmesan. Just add maybe another 1/4 ounce or so and mix rigorously. And now it's time to plate up. And one thing you'll notice about this carbonara is that the sauce is much lighter because it has a lot less fat. It also stays creamier longer and won't congeal as quickly as carbonara. And the bucatini, while a little bit difficult to get on one's fork, is dense and chewy and lovely. Whichever version of carbonara you decide to make for yourself, I hope this has shown you how easy it can be so long as you follow a few simple tricks. Now go out there, get some pasta, and start rolling your R's.
Hey, hey! Hey. How to drink Everclear and not die. World's strongest alcohol. Holy shit, Everclear. What do you think the proof is on an Everclear bottle? I thought this was just a joke. Man, I want to watch this video. You want to watch an 8-minute video once we have some carbonara? Me and you, we have a drink together. We have some. So we'll save the video. So that's that, Mama. Let's do something I've never done. Save the video. Save the video to watch later.
I'll watch it now.
No. We should watch it later. It's
Why?
the world's strongest alcohol. It's a guide on how to drink Everclear and not die. I'd love to try. Mama, look on there. It says freaking boom, 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 boom. Why is it so bad? Whoa, geez. See, Mama, I didn't mean for that to happen. Just scoot a little closer.
Alright, let's just watch this video.
No!
now.
No!
I want to watch it later.
Now scoot a little closer.
That's all I can scoot.
That's not true. You can scoot just a little closer. Scoot. And then I can give you a little huggaroo. That's all I was going for, Mom. See, but you. So, Mama, I can't handle watching this video without drinking, so we need to be drinking while watching the video. But I can't handle drinking without some nice carbonara. So we gotta make the carbonara first. Mama.
Got 2 drinks here.
I don't want to watch it. I told you. Do you want to watch it? You really want to watch it?
No,
Okay. Stop yelling. It'll be like 20 minutes. But okay.
This is Everclear, and on first inspection, it may...
Hey, I didn't mean to. Cut me some slack, my individual.
This is Everclear, and on first inspection, it may look like your average clear spirit. However, what makes Everclear stand out and what makes it so famous is its whopping 95% ABV. If you are from the States, that is 190 proof. Everclear is so strong that it's actually distilled at the practical limit of simple distillation. What that means is that if they were to add any more alcohol content, or ethanol, it would do this, which means you can't drink it. I don't know what it means. To give you a comparison of how strong Everclear is, absinthe, one of the most famous strong spirits in the world, clocks in at around 75% or 150 proof. Furthermore, Everclear is used as a food grade cleaner and disinfectant and is currently banned in these 15 states. The reason it's banned in these states is for it's currently banned in these 15 states.
banned. Gotta go. Oh, Hawaii is banned in Hawaii, mama. Alright, me and you, we harass Veers, because he's never gonna invite me to his house. He's shy. He's a bit of a shy gentleman. So we gotta go fuck him up, knock on his door, case of beers, case of Budweisers, and Alabama's not on the list, so we get some Everclear in Alabama. Come on, in Bama, mama.
The reason it's banned in these states is for its incredibly high alcohol content, which they typically ban around 95%, which is exactly what Everclear is. Now, funnily enough, Luxco, the creators behind Everclear, created a version that is 94.5% ABV in order to get shipped into these states, which in my mind is the equivalent of a loophole. Now, I think this goes without saying, but please, please, please do not drink Everclear straight. It was not made to drink straight. In fact, the main purpose of Everclear was to be made into different things. When we look at other liquors such as vodka or rum, they're quote-unquote finished products. Adding anything else to these finished liquors isn't going to really change the flavor of the liquor itself, and diluting it's going to make it way weaker than it was intended to be. Everclear, on the other hand though, is to be viewed as an unfinished product. Because of its extremely high alcohol content, it's great at soaking up flavors and creating infusions. Furthermore, when you dilute it, it will actually average back down to what a normal liquor is, so right around that 40% mark. So now that we know what Everclear is and how we should drink it, let's make some drinks. I wanted to have a little bit of diversity in this video to kind of show off Everclear, so we're gonna start with a blackberry sage vodka and then move over to a standalone cocktail, which is going to be a little twist on a Moscow Mule.
All right, to get this started, you're going to need 12 ounces of berries, 10 ounces of your Everclear, and then about a 1/4 cup of sage. Once you have those 3 things ready to go ahead and grab yourself a quart-sized mason jar and place your 1/4 cup of sage inside the jar. Now go ahead and grab yourself a muddler and begin to muddle the sage leaves. The goal here is just to bruise them and get their oils to be released. So make sure to be thorough with this, but also make sure that you're not turning your sage into like a pesto. Now that we have our sage muddled, we can go ahead and add our 12 ounces of blackberries. Keep in mind, we're using a quart-sized jar, and these 12 ounces pretty much fills up the entire mason jar. So if you're thinking about using something smaller, just keep that in mind. Once you got all your berries in there, now we can go ahead and take out the muddler once again and give these berries a good old muddling. Try and keep the berries at somewhat of a jammy texture. You don't want to absolutely annihilate them or turn them into a paste. You want to have them somewhat intact, but definitely still thoroughly muddled. Now that we have everything muddled, we can go ahead and add our forbidden glass of water, also known as 10 ounces of our Everclear. Now, once you have everything in there, you can go ahead and reseal your mason jar, and we're gonna let this bad boy sit for 48 hours. That's going to allow the Everclear to absorb the flavors of both the sage and the blackberries, and what's gonna give us our really cool infusion at the end.
2 days later.
At this point, the Everclear should be fully infused with the other flavors in the jar, so now it is time to go ahead and strain it. I definitely recommend using the finest mesh sieve you have. This will prevent more organic material from getting into the final product. As you are straining it, don't be afraid to give it a little... After it is strained, you may be tempted to drink this, but please do not. We still need to dilute it. So at this point, grab your 12 ounces of filtered water and go ahead and pour it into the Everclear infusion. Now go ahead and give it a good old stir. Make sure everything is all mixed in well together. And with that, you finally have your blackberry sage vodka. All that is left to do at this point is finding your storage container of choice and giving it a try.
All right, so now that we got it all set up, time to try it. I'm a little nervous, especially because even now that it's diluted, it's still just straight vodka. So we're just gonna go ahead and pour a little bit out. Also, it's a Tuesday night. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit out and try it out. A good little bit. Relatively clear. You can definitely tell it's organic, so I definitely would recommend either refrigerating this or just drinking it really fast. If you are looking for something maybe less refrigerator reliant, maybe try a fine mesh sieve. That might get more of the organic solids out of there, but for now, this totally works for us. Bottoms up. Ooh. Wow, that was actually significantly better than I thought it was gonna be. Goes down easier than vodka for sure. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel with the sage. I didn't know how that kind of herbally kind of flavor would taste, but it actually works really, really well with the blackberry. Like I said, you would think you're going to get kind of punched in the face when you're using that Everclear, but as long as you are diluting your Everclear, it actually has a really pleasant mouthfeel. Obviously, you know, it's still liquor, right? So it's not going to be like, ooh, yes, very nice, but surprisingly went down super duper easy. I could easily do more of that.
Okay, I kind of cut myself off there, but I want to move on to the Everclear Moscow Mule. For this cocktail, you're going to need pineapple juice, ginger beer, Everclear, and then some limes. You are then going to go ahead and grab a cocktail shaker and fill that with ice. Then go ahead and add 1 ounce of your Everclear. And just saying, no, I did not spill. Then go ahead and add 1 ounce of pineapple juice, definitely not spilling again. For this next part, I'll leave it up to personal preference, but I use about half a lime for mine. But like I said, totally up to you on how much lime you use in your mule. Once you got everything in there, now it is time to go ahead and cap it and start shaking. Make sure you go ahead and embarrass yourself. Once that is well shaken and your shaker has frosted over, go ahead and get yourself a tall glass, fill it with ice, and then pour everything out into that glass. Once you got everything poured in, go ahead and crack open a ginger beer and top off your cocktail. Also, you notice I left too much fizz at the top. Don't do that. We are almost done here, so go ahead and grab your lanky spoon and give this Moscow Mule a good old mixin'. Then last but certainly not least, go ahead and garnish your mule with a lime wheel and this a nice little cute sprig of mint. And with that, you have your Everclear Mule. Let's try this out.
Alright guys, so this is the variation on the Moscow Mule. Obviously it's a little different when we're using Everclear instead of vodka. We still have the lime juice in there, we still got a little bit of the mint, and then also we're using that pineapple juice. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Also the ginger beer. Cheers. You know, way more gentle than I thought it was going to be. It still definitely has that mule taste to it, which is kind of fun. Even with the pineapple and the Everclear, but actually still really refreshing, not overpowering at all. First time having Everclear, actually. Really surprised at how tasty and delicious this is, and like I said, way lighter than I thought it was going to be. So folks, that is Everclear. And even though it has a scary reputation, and it definitely deserves that reputation, I hope you guys can see now that Everclear really isn't that scary and can be used to make some delicious cocktails. But what are your guys' thoughts on Everclear, and are you going to try it anytime soon? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does help me a lot and encourages me to keep doing this. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
this grater isn't the greatest grater. Oh, see this grater?
I'll get it, honey.
I was just demonstrating the grater. It's not the greatest grater. But this great grater still does great. It just doesn't grate greatly. Grate it?
I'll grate it. Watch your noodles, honey. You watch
Over.
over and over. I didn't do anything.
You had me tweaking because it's because you weren't great Kill him. Kill him.
Wee!
No, I'm not feeling it.
Editor's note. This video is satirical, and although I make jokes, I don't intend to downplay the seriousness of cancer. With that being said, here's the video. Everywhere you look nowadays, you see news, studies, articles about how meat gives you cancer, plastic gives you cancer, shit, even cancer gives you cancer. I feel like we're looking at it through a one-sided lens. What about the people who actually want to get cancer? Today, we're going to be looking at the people who have dedicated themselves to carcinogen maxing. This is a somewhat newer phenomenon that exploded in popularity following some 4chan posts about carcinogen maxing. In a thread about pizza toppings, one Anon says that his favourite way to eat pizza is eating them completely burnt. He says that it doesn't really taste that great, but they're carcinogenic, so they get the job done. Another Anon asks, what is carcinogen maxing? And the original replies, he is min-maxing his food consumption to increase his carcinogen intake to eventually contract cancer. If you look into the science of eating burnt foods, Anon is correct that they do give you cancer, and it's to do with the burnt food containing carbon-free radicals that can ionize cells and create cancerous cells. Now that I've explained what carcinogen maxing is, you might be wondering how you, the dear viewer, can partake in carcinogen maxing. We're going to be looking at several methods of carcinogen maxing, starting with cigarettes. Everyone's vaping nowadays. Everywhere you look, you walk past a group of gangsters and all you can smell is blueberry muffins. What happened to real men that were blowing literal poison clouds every time they took a drag? I suggest we bring back smoking and let the public have a breath of not so fresh air again. Is all the money there? Good. I'll make sure to say something nice about ciggies in the next video. And did your boss tell you about the super donation pack? I'm gonna advocate for reducing the smoking age to 0. Why let children have second-hand smoke when they can have the real thing, am I right? Did you see that? Hey, who's there? Shit, it's the feds. You didn't see a goddamn thing. Now, for those of you carcinogen maxing, smoking a pack a day is a good place to start, but it's still going to take you about 20 years or more before you start seeing real results. The fastest known way to carcinogen max is to age rapidly. The likelihood of cancer development is like 1,000 times more likely when comparing 18 to 25-year-olds, which is the majority of my audience, and 65-year-olds. But because this is impossible for now at least, the next best way to carcinogen max is to become horribly, morbidly obese. The cancer rate skyrockets as excess weight piles on, so you're going to want to increase your caloric intake by drinking seed oils. This is especially true if you're also burnt food maxing, as the burnt food will have less calories than normal, as some of the energy is used up in combustion. Even using all these methods in combination, you will still only increase your chances by a couple percentage points, especially in the first few months and years. So if you think about the chance of getting cancer as rolling a 1 million sided dice that you throw every day, and smoking adds an extra side that gives you cancer, you're still looking at a long time before your carcinogen maxing sees you any results. This is one of the main issues for carcinogen maxers. It's that you can't just inject yourself with cancer either, because your immune system will just destroy them quickly. So what do you do if you want to carcinogen max as efficiently as possible? There's only one known solution to this dilemma, and it's not easy to acquire. Weapons grade plutonium. That being said, does it have to be weapons grade? Probably not. Does it have to be plutonium? Also, probably not. But it just rolls off the tongue nicely. But yes, radioactive material is the fast track method that anyone can do. It's just a matter of finding a sufficient energy source that, although difficult, is not impossible given the fact that one guy in Florida
managed to find an unexploded nuclear weapon and use it as an energy source until the feds came and kicked his door down, that is. So now you have the radioactive material. You can administer it in a number of ways, such as intravenously or via demon core exposure, but a good old cup of tea is the easiest way.
What do you mean?
Isn't that right, Vladimir? Actually, I lied.
If you wanted to go
Between
get
me and
cancer, you could go
If you
look it
want
up
cancer
yourself.
instantly, just queue 5 games of League of Legends, and if you don't have cancer by the end of it, you should probably go out and buy a few lottery tickets. If you want to add me in game, here's my summoner name. But if you're a pisslow, don't add me. I've already got cancer. I think I cancer max just a little hard. But if you like the video, consider subscribing and maybe hitting the like button. But thanks for watching. Bye.
My mom. That's funny. This next video, Mama, I was gonna watch the Smart Monkey Conspiracy. But do you want to hear that one, or do you want to? He has a video called "How to Get Away with Murder." That's a fun video. I think I want to watch. I used to watch a TV show called "How to Get Away with Murder." It's a good television series.
You might have someone in your life that you might dislike for any particular reason. Maybe they slighted you in some way. They took that last slice of cake you were saving for dessert. Or you made a joke in a group of friends, and then they repeated it but louder and got all the laughs. This video is going to explain how to murder them whilst avoiding suspicion and ultimately jail. First things first, you're going to need a victim. Here's one I prepared earlier. Yarg, I can't see a thing with these double eye patches. I found him littering on a beach and decided to do what the government won't to fix the issue of littering. Yarg, free me, you landlubber. I have rights, Yarg. A pirate in 2024, you might be wondering. Well, it's simply explained by the fact that the author of this YouTube channel has a pretty limited vocal range and can only do like 3, maybe 4 accents at a push. Arg, I'd say that's an area to focus and improve on, arg. Maybe how about you shut the fuck? Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the video. Step 2 is the process of actually carrying out the deed. Now that that's out, how about you shut the fuck? Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the video. Step 2 is the process of actually carrying out the deed, which is really more of a personal thing, and can vary depending on the reason for the murder. I'm not here to tell you how to swing an axe, but in general, less mess is best. Due to this being a YouTube video, I'm going to give this guy a peanut and let his allergies take him. Yarg, I actually have a tree nut allergy, not a peanut allergy. Well, you could have told me this before I bought this massive bag of peanuts. What am I supposed to do with this now? Arg, it be not my fault you have communications issues, arg. Right, bear with me folks, we're having some technical issues. Okay, so I don't actually have a way to off him for now, but he agreed to just pretend for the remainder of the video so we can continue. So on to step 3. You need to make sure that any belongings or personal effects of the victim are collected and disposed of correctly. You don't want the police knocking on your door 3 months later, asking why they found some of your DNA in a plastic bag full of missing person's clothes. The ideal way to do this is to burn the clothes and the body simultaneously, and stage it to look like a gas leak explosion. However, this is my house, so that's not going to happen. Instead, we're going to bury him. Ideally, you would want to separate the limbs for easier transport. Yarg, that hook literally cost me an arm and a leg. You best not damage it or you'll be hearing from my lawyers. Yarg. Yeah, I was almost sure you weren't going to say it then. Also, shush. Dead men don't talk. So now you have your body in a transportable manner. You would need to move them to the digging site, which you want to be as remote as possible with no direct link back to you. So now we're at the site. You need to set aside at least the whole night to dig because heavy machinery is way too inconspicuous and a 6-foot hole takes a lot of digging. So now you want to roll your body in and start covering it with dirt. Eventually you cover enough and then you can place a dead pet on top as a diversion for the police. The dead pet in a shallow grave above the victim is a good red herring as, if it were to be dug up by the police, they may be thrown off thinking it's just a pet grave. I don't have a dead pet handy, and no, I'm not going to go skin the neighborhood cat for a YouTube video. If you didn't know, in the UK we have these birds called pheasants, and they're literally the dumbest animals alive. You'll be driving and then randomly they'll run across the road into your car for no reason at all. I bet they do it on purpose just to piss people off, playing a game of chicken, but the goal is to lose. Steve-o, I bet you won't run across this road when this car comes up. You're sure about that, lad? I bet you a tenner. You've got yourself a freedom! Mate, you'll carry a tenner. Aye. So now you've successfully murdered and covered up your crime, you should be ready to yarg, I'm still alive, yarg. If I'm gonna be honest with you all, I'm not actually that good at being a murderer. It all goes back to the time I was working with the Shark Mafia as an executioner. Next time you'll pay Don Luciano his debts. Now you're sleeping with the fishes. Hey Stu, did you get rid of that guy? What's going on here? Stu, you idiota. Why'd you do that? I was told to make him sleep with the fishes, Danny. Stu, we was always sleeping with the fishes. We are fishes. I'm gonna have to talk with Don Luciano about...
Mama. I love you. Am I bothering you? Have I bothered you? Why does it seem there's some semblance of botherance within one of our... May I help? Why not? What do you think of the pasta? Only alright. doozies. Are you super alright? Are you vibing? Vibing super alright. Oh, no, jeez. Get some more pasta, man. Jeez. pretty good once you do some lemon juice, Mom. I think just a little lemon juice.
About this. We are fishes. Ooh, I was told to make him sleep with the fishes, Danny. Stu, we was always sleeping with the fishes. We are fishes. I'm gonna have to talk with Don Luciano about this. Maybe your current tenure with the outfit is, how you say, an ill fit. Whoa, hey, how'd you get out of the grave?
Yarg, you didn't pack the dirt or nothing, and it moved out the way while you were flashbacking, yarg. But whilst I been there pondering me decisions, I realized that there being put in the ground made me realize that I'm not above anyone else and that I can improve myself for the betterment of the community, yarg. And that maybe the real treasure was the friends that we made along the way, yarg.
No, I prefer the treasure. And you probably would too, if you're being honest.
Yarg, I thought we were gonna have a moment there, but alas, you do be speaking the truth.
This is a pretty anticlimactic way to end the video, but this is how to murder someone, I guess. It didn't really work out for me, but you guys might have more luck. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, consider giving it a like and maybe hitting the subscribe button. But other than that, hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, before the video, I promised a face reveal at 25,000, which I thought would take a few months, but it happened in one, so here it is. Its photos have never been uploaded online, so you can't reverse. So reveal at 25,000, which I thought would take a few months, but it happened in one, so here it is. Its photos have never been uploaded online, so you can't reverse image search my name, unfortunately. But if you recognize me, then it's up. But if not, then you'll just have to wait for a 100k identity reveal. Okay, so there was the solar eclipse that happened recently, and in the UK it was a bit disappointing, if I'm going to be honest. We had a partial eclipse for like 5 minutes at best, so for most people it wasn't really that big of a deal, but what I did see was a whole lot of horoscope tomfoolery. A lot of people genuinely believe the moon blocking the sun temporarily will have a meaningful effect on their lives. I mean, it did if you were dumb, as the Google search trends for My Eyes Hurt coincidentally peak with the path of the solar eclipse, which is just comedy gold. But anyway, I'm here to tell you that horoscopes can actually have a profound effect on your life, but not for the reason that you may think. They can't predict your behaviour or explain why you're an idiot, but they have a much more sinister effect. My conspiracy is that horoscopes and astrology is just a modern day version of ancient magic that was used to summon demons. Now bear with me, okay, this one actually has a bit of merit to it, but before we get to that, we have to explain how horoscopes work and what they are. So a horoscope is just a chart that shows the alignment of different celestial bodies when you were born, and there are cut-off dates for each sign, with most of them starting in the middle of a month and then lasting 30 days before it's the next sign's cut-off date. Astrologers are people who claim to be able to read these signs and then, after taking a payment, can tell you your future. So to anyone who actually believes in horoscopes, based on what you've seen of me so far, would you be able to guess what my horoscope is? I'll make it a little easier for you and whittle it down to just 4 choices. Am I an Aquarius, a Cancer, a Leo, or a Sagittarius? Okay, locked in your choices? Well, it's wrong because I'm actually a Scorpio. You didn't see that one coming, did you? Now you might be thinking, oh, that's such a Scorpio thing to do. Well, I lied again, I'm actually a Virgo, so how's that for you, eh? Okay, so say if you actually believed in this thing and you went to an astrologer and paid them to read your future, this is usually the type of slop you'll get back after you tell them your sign and whatnot. Yes, I can see in the crystal ball that you have a very insert human emotion here, and that recently insert common life event here. Oh, also it shows here that you're having trouble with insert relationship here, and what you really need to do is insert common advice here. And then basic hoes will be like, yes, that is so me. Well, no shit, it's so you, because it's also so everyone else. It's also used pretty commonly to skirt responsibility for one's own behaviour. Like, no, you didn't run over my dog because you're a pistachio, you're just a horrible driver. And no, you aren't acting like a pain in the arse because Mercury is in Gatorade, you just lack the ability to control your emotions. Imagine if this type of argument actually held up in court. Your Honor, the defendant couldn't have possibly skinned that family alive and worn their skins like a skin suit because her horoscope of the day was actually, you're gonna have an uneventful day. So I put it to the jury that skinning a family alive and making a skin suit is in fact eventful. Ergo, my defendant is innocent. Well, that's a pretty darned argument that you have, sir, but your defendant is still wearing the skin suit. Well, Judge, that can simply be explained by the fact that her current horoscope of the day says you will wear a skin suit. Guilty, death penalty. And because horoscopes are super vague and have no unanimous consensus on behaviors, you can kind of get away with just saying anything about any of the signs. This may be harsh, but if I find out that you genuinely believe in horoscopes, then I automatically assume you're low IQ. Call me judgmental, but my judgment usually serves me right.
Do you?
I would like to.
Do I?
Do I? Would I?
Look at the stuff. Could you? You gotta vibe on this one.
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, just for a second. Thanks for coming. I like these moments. Just curl up like a snake. So, which Austin flowers?
The next one.
There's only one left.
I thought there were 4.
There's only 3 of them, Mom.
Especially in the case of horoscopes. However,
Only 3. Oh, do you still want to watch it? You know it's the last one. Mom,
Are you sure?
pretty sure. Gold number.
We watched that yesterday.
No yet. We watched The Spy Who Shagged Me. Because her name was Shagwell. Remember? Mom. You fall asleep, Skeet. No, let's watch. Yeah, I'm falling asleep.